Hey, welcome to a new episode of Nate's MMA Corner. I am Nate, and if you watch my show, you're in my corner. Today's episode's a pre-fight show for UFC Fight Night, Condit versus Alves. And this is a welterweight clash of the ages. Two top-ranked UFC welterweights duking it out in the main event. So it's a pre-fight rundown of the main card. Give my predictions, and let's get started with the main event, shall we? Okay, so the main event is Carlos, the natural-born killer Condit versus Thiago Alves. And Thiago Alves really trying to get back on track, get back in title contention, and Carlos Condit's coming back from a long layoff due to injury. So both have a purpose in this fight to really make a point and make a statement. And man, this one's topsy-turvy because you got Carlos Condit coming off losses before his long layoff, but they were top tier ranked welterweights in Johnny Hendricks and Tyrone Woodley. Then, on the other hand, you got Thiago Alves coming off wins against a lesser ranked talent. But I think in this fight, Carlos having the height advantage, the reach advantage, probably the better striking, being a former interim welterweight champ in the UFC, I think he has the tools to win this, and I think he wins by possibly knockout in the second or third round. So, I'm picking Carlos Condit here. If Thiago Alves wins, though, it would be probably by decision, maybe submission after the third or rounds 4 or 5, getting some takedowns. But I think in this case, Carlos Condit, he doesn't have the greatest ground game in the welterweight division, but I think in this case his takedown defense will hold up enough to keep it standing and land some good shots and eventually get the knockout win. If anything, a decision, but most likely a knockout second or third round. Okay, then in the co-main event, we got in the featherweight division, Nick Lentz versus Charles Oliveira. Some people are jokingly calling this, rematch of the century. But I think in this rematch, Nick Lentz gets it done. His jiu-jitsu's gotten better since then, and his wrestling is world class. I think he won't be afraid of Charles Oliveira's black belt in BJJ, and so he will get top position. He will defend the submissions where Charles Oliveira will be going for off his back, and Nick Lentz will be getting those dominant positions with his wrestling and just pounding it out. And if anything drags out to a boring decision win, which I think is the most likely scenario here, and Nick Lentz really solidifies his top 10 status with this fight. So I'm picking Nick Lentz by a unanimous decision here. And then also on the main card in the welterweight division, we have KJ Nunes versus Alex Oliveira. And this one, KJ Nunes, he's a veteran of the sport. He's had a lot of fights. He's fought in Strikeforce, and he's fought obviously in UFC, and he had a pretty impressive knockout victory over Sam Stout. Charles Oliveira, on the other hand, I think this guy has the tools to do it. He's great on striking. He's definitely making a name for himself in the welterweight division. He will have home field advantage here. And I think this will be the cowboy of the welterweight division, whereas in the lightweight division, the cowboy is obviously Donald Cerrone. So, and KJ Nunes' chin has been questionable as of the last, few years. So I think Alex Oliveira wins by knockout first or second round in this one. I don't see this one going the distance. I will be shocked if it does. And that pretty much sums up that fight. KJ Nunes has great striking, but his chin's in question. Alex Oliveira, his yeah, he's looking good right now. So yeah, Alex wins knockout first or second round. That's how I got this one. Yeah, then also on the main card um, uh, we have Francimar Barroso versus Ryan Jimmo, and this one I got Ryan Jimmo. They're both now. This one I think is a pretty close, even matchup. It's a coin toss. I think Ryan Jimmo, though, he doesn't crash under the pressure of fighting against a Brazilian in Brazil. And Ryan Jimmo, he can mix things up. He's a well-rounded guy, but he's primarily a striker. And I think he has heavy hands, especially the way he knocked out Anthony Perosh in a few seconds back at UFC 149. I think he still has that power. And he goes for knockout, and eventually he will get it. I think he's just going to wear him out and eventually go. And plus, Ryan Jimmo's proved that he can go 3 rounds in the past. So, yeah, this one's a close one, so don't count Francimar out. Yeah, then in the lightweight division we have Norman Park versus Francisco Trinaldo. And, oh man, yeah, I'm going with Norman Park by decision. I think Norman Park has a great training camp behind him. And this one is pretty much the one that gets him back on track, gets him back moving up the rankings. And yeah, he just, I think he wins this by unanimous decision on points per round due to strikes. I don't see him going for takedowns left and right. I think he'll keep it standing. So yeah, I got it a points fight, wins every round on points due to strikes. Unanimous decision win from Norman Park. There you have it. Then to kick off the main card in the welterweight division, we have Wendell Oliveira versus Darren Till. And man, you know what? I went back and forth on this one, and I gotta go with Darren Till. I think that he gets a finish, whether it's by submission or knockout on this one. I think he gets it done, and I think he's fought enough fights where he won't get octagon jitters, and he won't get scared that he's a foreigner fighting in Brazil. He won't have the home field advantage. So there you have it. There's my picks. Yeah, that pretty much that wraps up my main card picks. There you have it, and stay tuned for the fights later on today, and you'll see if I'm right, see if I'm wrong. Send me your comments, and stay tuned in the coming days for my post-fight show on this card. And until then, see ya.